Is Pakistan heading towards army rule again, and how will this internal crisis affect India, particularly at this time when there has been all this tension along the line of control? Joining us tonight, former Foreign Secretary Mr. Kamal Sibal. Also with us this evening from the Times of India's consulting editor Mr. Dilip Parganko, who's also been an interlocutor for Jammu and Kashmir. We have Ajay Shukla, well-known strategic affairs analyst, who will be joined shortly from Pakistan by Asma Jahangir, lawyer and human rights activist, and other guests as well. Let me ask Mr. Sibal first. How serious and deep is this crisis in Pakistan today?
Well, it's clearly very deep because the institutional arrangements in Pakistan, the institutional setup is breaking down, where the Supreme Court is ordering the arrest of the Prime Minister of the country. And this person has been parachuted, Mr. Qadri from Canada, and is asking for the parliament to be dissolved and certain other steps to be taken through a demonstration of street power and mobilizing the masses. And all this a couple of months away from the elections. Clearly the army, or at least one version, is that the army is wanting to settle scores with Mr. Zardari. They have wanted to do this for a long time. And the Supreme Court also has scores to settle with the president, and this crisis has erupted because of that. But I think generally it reflects the breakdown of governance in Pakistan. You can't have a country of 180 million people, which is a nuclear armed country with a very strong armed forces, etc., etc., to actually conduct its affairs in this manner of worse than a banana republic, because the consequences of what is happening on the ground are very serious for the region as a whole.
Okay. I do want to ask you about that in more detail. I'm just going to go across to Asma Jahangir, who joins us this evening from Lahore. Ms. Jahangir, thank you so much for speaking to us this evening. I wanted to ask you first your assessment of how serious things are in Pakistan right now. How deep is this crisis?
Well, the crisis has been deep for some time. It's not that Mr. Qadri has come now. There have been many onslaughts on the democratic process. This is possibly the most comical that I've seen so far. There is no doubt in people's mind that this was pre-planned, that the establishment is behind this move, because it's too much of a coincidence that he turns up just before the elections, just after an election commissioner has been appointed with consensus and everybody is approved of him, and then he wants the election commission to be destroyed. And then while he is sitting there, addressing the public like a schoolmaster, the Supreme Court should come up with a judgment to arrest the Prime Minister. I mean, surely they know what is happening. And it's not as though the Prime Minister was running away and absconding from the country. I think that this is a crisis, but I also feel that people have stood firm. And there have been several voices from several various parts of the country who have supported a democratic process, who have denounced Qadri's demands of wanting caretaker of his own liking, wanting people with very good character, elections should have no expenditure. And the cheek is that the man spends himself millions of rupees for a rally and wants that no expenditure should be done on elections. He wants sort of angels to become members of parliament, but he himself does not qualify under Article 62 and 63 on many counts to be a parliamentarian himself.
Yeah, but I just want to ask you though, that why do you think that the military is interested in this instability right now? You said yesterday, in a quote that's really struck out, that the boots are behind this when you talked of yesterday's developments. Why at this time does the army want to do this, you think?
You know that they have high stakes in this country. Deepening democracy in any which way, I mean, we have a very fragile democracy, but a smooth transition of power through the constitutional means is a benchmark, is a bit of stabilization of the process. Now, secondly, in Balochistan, they rule the country in that part of the world, in that part of the country. Now, last time the nationalists had boycotted elections. That too had been engineered in a way. This time the nationalists will sweep elections. So they are not going to allow smuggling to take place and money to go in their pockets. They are not going to allow them to have a free hand over their natural resources. Similarly, they want to take all decisions. Foreign policy decisions is something that they want to keep to themselves, and more importantly, 2014 is a very important date, not only for Pakistan but for Afghanistan and the region. And they want to call the shots after 2014.
Then do you see a link? Because there is this strange confluence that's happening here. You have the army, you have the Supreme Court's order against the Prime Minister, you have Qadri, you have tensions with India along the line of control. Do you see some kind of link between all of this?
Well, sometimes people have said that there are links. And many of our leadership has said that these are probably the only two unfortunate countries where cross-border firing continues to happen at intervals. But this is a message that if you don't allow us, things can go from bad to worse. Violence will increase. And that is why a lot of people feel that elections should be held very quickly before you give them time to completely derail everything, kill a few people, have some new, joker come from across the the globe and tell us what we should do in our country.
Okay, and I'll ask you one more question before I take this to the rest of the panel as well. What are the options for the Prime Minister right now? Because there was from the media reports yesterday, and you're a lawyer, you can shed light on this. It was reported that there were 24 hours given to the government to have him arrested. That has not happened today. It seems that the government is holding out based on technicalities in the order. How do you think this is going to play out in the next few days? Is there an immediate impending crisis here?
You know, our Chief Justice, when he makes up his mind, and he obviously has reasons to do it, he is undeterred. But let me tell you that the order has usurped the powers of the National Accountability Bureau. Under the law, it is only the Chief of the National Accountability Bureau that can actually send a reference or sign an arrest warrant. But in any event, the Prime Minister can get a bail before arrest. Even if he arrests the Prime Minister House and his office can become sub judice. I mean, since we've come down to this level, we may as well fight at that level.
India's #1 news app just got even better. Download NDTV's new app. Fully optimized for Retina display. Full screen view. Faster response time. And Sudoku. NDTV's new iPad app. Download now.